I focused on nonviolent crime. As an example, a woman who you know very well was in jail. She had 24 more years to serve. She served for 22 years. She had 20.
Alice Johnson.
Alice.
She was in the Super Bowl.
High quality. Oh, yeah. I said, how many years? And she was on a telephone call, and they were involved in selling marijuana, mostly marijuana. And she got like 50 years in jail.
But she'd be killed under your plan.
Huh?
As a drug dealer.
No. Under that, it would depend on the severity. It would depend on the severity.
You should know what your policies are, buddy. If you're gonna advocate for people to be murdered for being drug dealers, you should remember that actually, because that's actually kind of like a big thing, a big position to take, and undercuts your "I'm totally humane. I allowed Alice Johnson, who was imprisoned for decades. It was totally unjust. Letting her out was a good thing to do. But then calling for people like her to instead be murdered by the state is a bad thing. And one would think that if you had been pushing for that, as Trump has, year after year, that you would remember it and you wouldn't have to be reminded live during an interview. That the thing is, Mondale, and I want your take on this. He's not gonna back down from that position. He's gonna try to nuance it around the edges. We'll have more video, but what do you think about what you saw?
Man, that was beautiful. It was just like I enjoy the fact that this hypocrisy is not just Trump, right? This is Republican on its face. We had Rush Limbaugh do the same thing, talk about drug dealers should be shot, and then he get busted with 70,000 pills that he had no prescriptions for. So like it's always the case that the loudest people against something are probably suffering from that something. And I don't find it too hilarious that Trump is comfortable going on TV saying that people who are selling drugs should be shot or murdered. But then he tried to win points with the black community by freeing a black woman who was over sentenced. This is the disgusting part of Donald Trump that is so dangerous, because people will miss the point, and some of those people unfortunately look like me in the world.
Yeah, who might see what he did with Alice Johnson and think, oh, that's a good thing. And it was, she should have been released way before then. But not realize that like that symbolic thing that he does and then references once years later is a little bit undercut by a systemic policy that would result in lots of people being killed. So that said, I wanna give you more of their little back and forth directly from when he's reminded with the fact that he would have killed Alice Johnson. Take a look at this.
It would depend on the
sad. She's technically a former drug dealer. She had multi-million-dollar cocaine ring.
Any drug dealer, look.
So even Alice Johnson in that ad.
She can't do it, okay? By the way, if that was there, no, she wouldn't be killed. It would start as of now, so you wouldn't go to the past.
I know, but your policy.
No, starting now, yeah.
Starting now. Are you a child? Look. He says, I did a good thing, it was humane, I allowed this woman out. They were being unjust by locking her up for a really long time. And his solution is still to kill her under the policy. I mean, not her, because the policy wasn't around back then, but he's not backtracking and saying, that's a good point, let's not do that. He's just saying, oh, future Alice Johnsons, sure, starting now. Yes, they would be murdered by the state, but old Alice Johnson, she wouldn't have, because that was before. That is his actual ideological defense of this policy, that we should still be killing people, but don't worry about this example that I gave. She's grandfathered in to not be killed by the United States government. Mondale, are you convinced?
No, I'm not convinced at all. And actually, if you see his anger is at when he said not her, or she wouldn't have been killed then because it would happen before. He's basically saying, don't take away my arm or my tag or my carrot that I'm dangling to these Negroes. Please don't kill that. Like, this is my arm into the Negro community. This time I'm gonna win the black vote, this and Lil Wayne. So I think, Donald Trump's anger has nothing to do with this person. He didn't even remember her name. If you go back to the first clip, you'll notice that Bret had to throw him she was a woman until Bret had to say her name. He couldn't even say her name because he didn't remember it. It's showing people that Donald Trump does not care about policy. He's not concerned with policies. He's all about power, and he'll use anybody to get get that power.
For more political news breakdowns, interviews, stories of activism, and me trying my hardest to care about the occasional big celebrity news story, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/thedamagereport. And you can ring the bell wherever it is so you don't miss anything.